is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from MagickTV, and this is our continuing coverage of the 20th Annual St. Louis Pagan Picnic. And in the second part of our coverage, we bring you interviews with Karen Dierhoff, with author Ellen Dugan, and with Sam Chirac. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy them.
Hi, my name's Alyssa, and I'm at the 20th Annual Pagan Picnic.
Hi. I'm getting ready to get interviewed.
Oh, cool. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Oh, thank you, Beth.
Yes, indeed.
That's my part of that interview.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Karen Dierhoff with the St. Louis Pagan Community.
And we've interviewed you several times for MagickTV here at the picnic.
Yes, it's my third time.
And this is the 20th year.
Yes, it is.
And what can you say about that?
It's just amazing that we've made it this far. I'm just very filled with joy this weekend that we've been able to make it this far, that the picnic is bigger and better than ever, that everyone is having fun tripping down memory lane, this weekend, and just seeing all our friends that we've made from over the years, like you, always a good time.
How have you seen the picnic change and develop over the years?
Oh my gosh. It went from being a very small, basically potluck deal, which reminded you of just like a close family picnic, to the extravaganza that you see before you today.
How many people would you say visit the picnic in a year?
I would say nowadays probably between 2,000 and 2,500, I would say.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
And that must present a lot of challenges to the staff.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And yet, you never see people getting upset or frustrated. They manage to hide it really well.
Hide it really well was the operative word sometimes.
How do you guys keep everything so positive?
Well, we just try to remind ourselves why we're doing this, which is for outreach to our pagan friends, to people that are interested in paganism, pagans that may not have met anyone to fellowship with. Just try to remember, who we're putting this on for, not just for ourselves, but for the greater community.
And what do you want to see in the next 20 years?
For us to keep on going. For the picnic to keep on going, for us oldsters to be able to pass the torch on to the next generation. We've got some great young people working with us this year, and for some of them it's their first time in an administrative capacity, I guess you would say. And they're doing wonderfully, and we hope to see a lot more of that.
One of the things about the picnic that people probably don't realize is that the organizing committee has gone through a lot of changes over the years.
Yes, they have.
And kept everything going. Mm-hmm. And that's really an accomplishment. What would you say has been the biggest challenge the picnic has faced?
I would imagine that the biggest challenge the picnic had faced would probably be maybe a little bit of burnout on the side of some people who have been working for years and years and years. That's why we're glad to see some new faces stepping up, and taking over, some of the positions to give some of us a break and everything.
And if you were to describe the picnic to someone who's never been here, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that it is some of the most fun they can have, free of charge, on a sunny summer afternoon, and there's wonderful music, there's wonderful food, and to just come and join us and experience it for yourself.
Wonderful. And can you remind us where to go to find more information?
You'll want to go to www.paganpicnic.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don.
Hello.
Hi, Don. And right on cue, just like every year.
It does happen every year.
Every year.
We are here with Ellen Dugan at the 20th Annual St. Louis Pagan Picnic. Did you think this would ever hit 20 years?
I've been coming to the picnic for about 6 or 7 years now, so I'm not surprised. It gets a little bigger every year.
How did you first find out about the picnic?
When my kids were little, a mutual friend of mine had told me that there was going to be a picnic. I think it was one of the very first ones. And I thought, oh, that'll be cool. And it was very casual then. It was just kind of people on blankets and stuff set out hither and yon. So we went out for the day.
Very cool. And what do you think of the changes that have happened in the years?
In the past 6 or 7 years that I've been here, I've seen more and more vendors. It's much better organized now. You walk in, your packet's on the table. You know where you're going to sit down. They come in, they check on you. Do you need anything? It's much slicker. It's much more organized. It just runs much more smoothly.
And you're here every year, pretty much. So I would assume that there are people who come out here every year just to see you.
Sometimes.
And you've been a celebrity for a long time, but how does it feel to know that your work impacts people?
Well, that's kind of hard. A lot of people came out this year to see me because Seasons of Witchery just came out officially yesterday, so they came out to get the book because they knew this would be their chance to get it literally hot off the presses, because thanks to Llewellyn shipping it to me last week, we got it in time for the picnic. I met a lot of people today who stopped and talked to me about how much the books had helped them and how they had their little section on their bookshelf of all my books. And it's really hard for me not to get misty when people talk like that. It makes all those hours sitting in front of the computer, screaming at the monitor and wondering why in the hell I do this. It kind of balances that out. Because there's a lot of days that people don't see where you're, at home in your sweatpants, your hair in a ponytail, and you're spending 10, 12 hours a day at your desk doing your own publicity, working on, setting up author events, and then you're checking your Facebook pages and you're writing, and all that stuff has to be part. I mean, someone said to me recently, why do you work so hard? I said, I have 16 Facebook pages. I have an Ellen Dugan page, I have a public figure page, and then I have one for every book, including the tarot deck, so that's a total of 16. My daughter is the administrator on most of them to kind of help me keep an eye on them. But it's a good way to get your book advertised. It's part of your job. And I was talking to a new writer today who was asking me, what can they expect, blah, blah, blah. And I said, expect to learn business, whether you want to or not. And for me, that was always the biggest challenge. I just wanted to be a writer. The last thing I expected was that I'd have to do the business side of it, but that is part of being an author. And if you want to be a successful author and you want to have a lot of books and you want them to sell well and you want people to go looking for your books, you need to be prepared to do the work that goes with that.
Yes, indeed. So you were talking about how hard you work as a writer, and most people have a very false idea about what a writer's life is like. They think that you write the book and that's all there is, and it's a lot of work.
It is. First you figure out topic, then if you're me, and I'm an anal retentive Virgo, so I always outline it, get an idea of what I want it to be. Then I start researching, which means I hit the library, and then I look at Amazon and I see what kind of used books I can get for reference material because it's less expensive. And I start gathering my reference material, and I start with that outline, and I start to flesh it out. I'm working on a new proposal now, which has been derailed about twice from the Witch's Tarot deck because that all came together. We weren't sure if it was coming out this fall or not, and it is. It's coming out in September, so I had to set this project aside twice now. So basically I'm trying to psych myself up to get back into the mindset and the topic of this proposal. So once I get my outline and I do my research, I start to flesh it out, and that kind of gives me a clue of where I want the book to go. And then as time goes on, the book might take me one way, or maybe I might yank it back in line and go somewhere else with it, but occasionally they take a left turn and then you have to take a couple days and coax it back to where you want it to be. But then I just start getting that going, and that usually takes me about a month. And once I've got the first couple chapters, then I usually send in a proposal, and then while it takes about a month or so to have that go through all the channels and have the committee see it, that gives me a little bit more time to start on other chapters, and then I typically try to give myself about 6 months, and that's full-time writing to get that book finished. And sometimes last week I had proof pages for the deck, and I was homesick with the fever, and I did those proof pages anyway, and at 7 o'clock in the morning I did a phone meeting with my editor for 2 hours with no voice and a fever, and got those proof pages done because the book needed to be done to go with the tarot deck and had to be at the printer on Friday. So there was no, just take a week off, you can get to it later. It was, let's get this done, this is my job, this has to be done, they're counting on me. So that's part of it. That's something people don't realize. You will work harder being an author than you've ever worked before because you work for yourself, and if you fail, if things don't work out the way you wanted, it's usually no one to blame but yourself. So it only pushes you to go farther and to work harder and to do better. And it's easy to write your first book because basically it's just all balls. I mean, you're just like, what the hell, let's try this. You don't know any better. You just try it. And then you get published and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got a book published. And then you go, ooh, I need to do something else. And every book you write after that gets to be more and more challenging, am I doing a good job? Is my audience going to appreciate the work? And, every time it's a bigger challenge, every book you write.
Now, you mentioned your tarot deck.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, The Witch's Tarot will come out in September of 2012. Yay!
Hey.
Our artist's name is Mark Evans. He's very talented. He lives in New York. It will be a boxed set. It will be the deck and a companion book. The companion book will be 312 pages long. I know because we just did the proof pages. But the deck is based on the Rider-Waite system, and I scripted and designed the deck. And then first the script was written, and then we found the artist, and then I would basically paint him a picture with words of what I wanted for each card. And then he would sketch that, and we would talk about it sometimes, and then he would send me the sketches, and I would approve the sketches, and then he'd go from there and he'd start painting. Very rarely was it ever, no, that has to be changed. 90% of the time it was, looks good, let's go. A couple times I think like I wanted yellow roses on one card and he did red, and I was like, you know what, I can work with that, this is not a problem, let's go. So, the artwork is gorgeous. You saw it today. Darren got a sneak peek.
It's really nice.
It's beautiful, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think it'll be a nice deck for people to have because the images are classic, they're witchy, but they're going to be very, very quick to pick up and very easy to use.
Very cool. Now, one of the things that I think is a hallmark of your work is the practicality of it.
I thought you were going to say the sarcasm.
well, maybe a little of that
Maybe a
too.
little of
But the practicality and the accessibility. And it seems to me that these must be things you put a very high premium on.
They are. I do not have time for grand high poobahs and a lot of fluff. A lady walked up to me today and says, I like your books because they're just simple. I just get in there and I do it. There's not a lot of nonsense. Maybe it's from being from the Midwest. Maybe it's from being a mom. I don't know. But I just don't have the time and the energy for a lot of trappings. Give me what works, show me what works, teach me what works, and then turn me loose. I think it's silly to talk down to people or to make them think they can't do this. It's all about them. They'll get out of it whatever they put into. My job is to empower them and fire them up and get them enthusiastic. And if I can do that, then I've done my job.
Wonderful. So, where will you be next?
I will be at IMATS at the end of June at Denver with Llewellyn. And then I will be heading out to Massachusetts around the 10th of July this year. And I have an event in Salem at Pyramid Books, and then I have an event in central Massachusetts. It's on Bellingham. And the name of the store is called The Robin's Nest. So I have 2 events out there, and then I'm home, and I'll stay put for a few months. And then we'll start gearing up for the deck, because that'll come out in September. We are going to do a deck launch party at the Eye of Horus in Minneapolis. And I talked to the artist, and he should be coming out. So both the artist and I will be there at the launch party to sign the books and to sign the art. And he's also working up, since the tarot art turned out so pretty, he's going to have prints and things for sale on the website for the deck. And this is like the quiet before the storm. I've never had a book come out and thought, oh, okay, the book's out. Oh my gosh, now this one's coming out. So this has been, it's going to be a crazy year this year.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
I hope so.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi, I'm Sam Chirac. I'm from Kansas City, and we came up here for our first time to see the St. Louis Pagan Picnic. We were excited to be here and really have enjoyed ourselves. This is our second day.
What stands out to you most about the picnic?
Really, the numbers is wonderful. There's a large number of pagans here. Definitely always the openness among the pagans. It's always fun to walk into a booth or greet pagans sitting under a shade tree, and they're very welcoming and talk with us and are willing to share with us. And it's that open community aspect of paganism is what's always drawn me to it.
Cool. Do you think you'll come back?
I definitely will come back. This was very exciting. The large number of merchants that offering tidbits that I could never seen anywhere else. The craftsmanship is just wonderful here.
Which is your favorite merchant?
Oh wow, favorite.
I shouldn't say favorite. Which merchant stands out most in your mind?
Well, the ones where I bought stuff, I guess.
Cool.
I bought a beautiful handmade wand. I bought a beautiful handmade staff. Some T-shirts with some great sayings on it. I bought that. So that was pretty neat. I've signed up for the raffle, so hopefully I get some goodies there. So that's going to be neat. And of course the food, lots of food here, and they have a great vegan option here. And being a vegan, that's always a good thing to have.
And you have a wide background.
Yes. I started paganism about 5 years ago, and actually had a Pagan Pride Day. And I showed up, and I thought it was kind of more like I like the Renaissance Festival in Kansas City. There was a lot of people wearing like Renaissance type clothes, and I didn't really know what it was about. And was befriended by a couple pagans, and they introduced me to the idea and said some books to read, and I started reading about it, and then I just became excited about the whole concept because it was a reality and an understanding that had never been expressed to me before. And so I started going around the various paths and always found doors open to me, and so I've been invited to the heathen bloats and been to the lots of Wiccan rituals and Druid rituals, and just been able to enjoy the whole pagan community as a whole, and I've enjoyed them all very immensely.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed that, and you'll join us again for the third part of our coverage of the 20th Annual St. Louis Pagan Picnic, when we'll be speaking with Charlene and with author Joyce Higginbotham.